There comes a moment in every person's life when silence becomes unbearable. When you can no longer stand the sound of your own excuses. When the quiet voice inside of you, the one you've ignored for years, rises up and whispers, "You were meant for more." That's the moment transformation begins. Not when the world applauds you. Not when your circumstances are perfect. But when you decide that the life you are living is no longer enough. Every great mind who ever walked this earth, Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Carnegie, faced that same whisper. The same burning unrest. They weren't handed greatness. They created it, forged it, molded it out of hunger, vision, and unbreakable belief. You see, the difference between an average mind and a millionaire mind is not intelligence, it's direction. It's what you do when life corners you, when nothing works, when the world seems blind to your effort. Do you crumble? Or do you turn inward, sharpen your focus, and rise with the quiet fury of someone who refuses to be forgotten? The millionaire mindset begins in solitude. It begins when you stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. When you stop waiting for motivation and start acting on discipline. When you stop measuring yourself by what others have, and start building from what you already possess. Because success does not come to the loud or the lucky. It comes to the prepared mind. The one who builds in silence. The one who sacrifices the comfort of now for the victory of later. The one who learns to think differently, boldly, relentlessly, intentionally. Napoleon Hill wrote that, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief is not a wish. It's a decision, made daily, carved into your habits, proven through your persistence. Belief is not spoken, it's demonstrated. It's what you do when the world doubts you, when the odds mock you, when failure laughs in your face. Winners don't have less fear, they have more faith. Faith in the unseen. Faith that the invisible will become visible through unwavering effort. Faith that every setback carries a seed of equal or greater opportunity. This is not optimism, it's strategy. It's the deliberate wiring of your thoughts to attract direction, not distraction. It's the conscious creation of momentum in your favor. And it starts the moment you decide to think like a winner. Winners don't think about lack, they think about leverage. They don't ask, "Why me?" They ask, "Why not me?" They don't see limits, they see lessons. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it is the foundation of it. Thomas Edison failed more than 1,000 times before he brought light to the world. Henry Ford went bankrupt twice before he revolutionized industry. Walt Disney was told he had no imagination before he created a universe of dreams. These men did not stumble upon success, they thought their way into it. They believed that every defeat was a clue, every obstacle a signal, every delay a test of faith. You cannot think like the masses and expect to live like the masters. You cannot feed your mind with mediocrity and expect it to produce greatness. If your thoughts are small, your life will be small. If your standards are low, your results will follow. You are not what you wish for, you are what you think, believe, and act upon relentlessly. The millionaire mindset is not about money, it's about mastery. It's the mastery of self. The control of thought, emotion, and action under pressure. It's what allows a person to stay calm when others panic, to stay focused when others drift, to stay building when others are breaking. Because every fortune starts in the mind long before it appears in the world. Every empire begins as an idea, nurtured by courage, protected by persistence, and expanded by faith. The world you see today was once invisible. Every skyscraper, every company, every invention began as a whisper in someone's imagination, a whisper they refused to ignore. You must become that kind of thinker. Not the kind who reacts, but the kind who creates. Not the kind who waits, but the kind who moves. Not the kind who complains, but the kind who constructs. You must train your thoughts the way an athlete trains their body. Feed them discipline. Challenge them with purpose. Surround them with vision. Because your mind is the workshop of your destiny. What you build there, daily, deliberately, will shape every outcome that follows. So ask yourself, what do I think about most? Do my thoughts serve my goals or sabotage them? Do I dwell on problems or possibilities? Do I see what's missing, or do I see what's possible? The answers to these questions determine everything. Not your degree. Not your background. Not your luck. Your thinking. The millionaire mind is not born, it's trained. It's forged in the fire of repetition, refined through failure, and elevated through relentless self-discipline. It's the mind that wakes up early, studies while others sleep, builds while others rest, and keeps believing when others quit. Because success is not about opportunity, it's about readiness. When the door opens, will you be prepared to walk through it? When life hands you the moment you've dreamed of, will you have the strength, the clarity, the mindset to seize it? That is why you must train your mind before your moment arrives. Because when it does, it will be too late to prepare. The mind is the battlefield where every war for greatness is fought. Not the boardroom, not the market, not the stage, but the quiet space between your ears. If you lose that war, it doesn't matter how many opportunities knock. You'll find a way to sabotage them. But if you win there, if you learn to master your inner dialogue, your fears, your focus, you become unstoppable. Because success doesn't demand perfection. It demands consistency. The discipline to show up when it's uncomfortable, to keep moving when the reward is invisible, to stay faithful to your vision when the world doubts your direction. The secret that all winners understand is simple: discipline is the highest form of self-respect. When you discipline yourself, you're saying to the world, I believe in my future enough to control my present. You're telling every distraction, every temptation, every whisper of laziness that your destiny matters more than your comfort. Carnegie built his empire not because he worked harder than everyone, but because he worked smarter and longer than everyone who quit. He surrounded himself with thinkers who shared his obsession, who believed that steel could build a nation, who understood that persistence could melt impossibility. That's what discipline does. It aligns your energy with your vision. It strips away the noise. It silences doubt. But discipline is not built overnight. It's forged in the moments you think no one is watching. When you push through one more hour of study. When you save what you could have spent. When you say no to something easy because you've said yes to something greater. That is where champions are made. The world doesn't reward ideas, it rewards execution. You can dream all you want, but until you move, until you act, until you do something about that dream, it's just air. Your thoughts create your vision, but your discipline makes it real. And discipline, over time, becomes freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from mediocrity. Freedom from the chains of what if. The man who disciplines his mind and actions lives life on his own terms. He wakes with purpose. He sleeps with peace. And every day between, he moves with clarity. Because clarity is power. Without it, you drift. You chase trends. You move with no direction and wonder why you feel lost. But when your mind is clear, when you know who you are, where you're going, and what you're willing to sacrifice, the world bends to that kind of certainty. Winners think in pictures. They see their victory long before it arrives. They hold that vision so powerfully that reality has no choice but to catch up. Edison saw light in the darkness long before the filament glowed. Disney saw castles before the land was cleared. Ford saw a car in every driveway when people laughed at the idea. They lived from the future backward, not from the past forward. And that's where most people go wrong. They let their past define their possibilities. They replay their failures, their mistakes, their heartbreaks, as if history is stronger than imagination. But the millionaire mind refuses that lie. It understands that the past is education, not identification. It's a chapter, not the title. Your vision is the compass that points your spirit north. Without it, you'll wander endlessly through the fog of other people's opinions. But once you see it, once your mind locks onto that future like a target, everything changes. You start walking differently. You start talking differently. You start living with intention. The dream becomes magnetic. It begins pulling you toward it. You no longer chase success, success begins to chase you. Because you've become the kind of person who attracts it. That's the law of attraction Napoleon Hill wrote about, not magic, not wishful thinking, magnetic belief backed by deliberate action. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions move in harmony, life moves with you. Doors open. People appear. Opportunities emerge. It's as if the universe itself leans forward to meet your ambition halfway. But make no mistake, the universe doesn't give gifts to the idle. It rewards the worker, the believer, the one who rises before the sun and refuses to rest until his vision breathes. It rewards the woman who writes when no one's reading, who builds when no one's watching, who keeps faith when the evidence says otherwise. Every dream worth chasing will test you. It will ask, how bad do you want this? And you'll answer not with your words, but with your effort. When the nights grow long and the results seem invisible, will you persist? When your friends give up, when your plans collapse, when you fail for the 100th time, will you rise again? Because that's the difference between ordinary and legendary. Ordinary people quit when it hurts. Legends rise because it hurts. Lincoln lost more elections than he won before he became president. He faced ridicule, tragedy, and failure, yet he never surrendered to despair. Because his purpose was stronger than his pain. His vision was bigger than his wounds. That's the heart of the millionaire mindset, resilience wrapped in vision. It's the will to keep going when every reason to stop stands before you. It's the refusal to let failure have the final word. It's the quiet voice that says, not yet, when the world screams, it's over. And when you live with that kind of resolve, something shifts inside you. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing validation. You begin to understand that success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. When you think like a winner, you act like one. When you act like a winner, you begin to attract the results of one. And when that alignment happens, when your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your habits synchronize, you move from wishing to winning.